time again for another Willie's Ramblins and Pickup video. Been to a lot of places since the last time I made one of these videos. I made a visit up to Rhode Island this past week. Actually drove up to New Hampshire to visit some places. One of the places I visited was the Pinball Wizard Arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire. Wow, this arcade is awesome. There's a lot of great stuff in there. I finally was able to play the Hercules pinball table from Atari. Been looking for one of these for quite a while to give a try. It's an okay game. It seems to be destined to throw that crazy cue ball right down the center of the alley. I didn't last very long playing that crazy game, but it was still pretty cool to see. Also, I saw a video pinball by Atari in there, but unfortunately it was broken down. I have the worst luck trying to find one of these games to tape. Every time I find one, it's busted. Oh well. Maybe next time I'll get a bit lucky. I'll be doing a video on the Pinball Wizard Arcade here in the near future. I took a lot of footage and a lot of pictures and everything. I did make up a pickup there, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Let's see what else. Oh, I visited this pretty neat game store down in Taunton, Massachusetts, called Bowser's Basement. Not a bad little game store. It's small. A lot of NES games in there, Super Nintendo, a lot of Genesis games too. Not so much earlier stuff like Atari and stuff like that. There's a few things, but not a whole bunch. One of the funny things that happened to me there was, usually when I go to a game store, I'll go over to the NES pile and I'll start looking for gyromites with a Famicom adapter. And typically what I'm doing is I'll pick up a cartridge, I'll take off my glasses, I'll look at the end. And I'm looking for those offset pins. Well, the guy saw what I was doing. He goes, "Oh, hey, I've got the Famicom carts back here." And I was like, "Oh, hey, no you don't. Here's one right here." Unfortunately, he wouldn't let me buy it, though. I shouldn't have said anything, but oh well, I don't care. I just like getting them to make my own custom NES games. I'll get a Famicom cartridge that I like Galaxian or something like that, and I'll put it inside the cartridge and I'll make a custom label for my little NES cartridge. Haven't done it yet. I've been wanting to do that. So I've been trying to collect some Famicom adapter cartridges to make my own little custom cartridges for my collection. But no big deal. I don't really care. Another game store I went to up there was Core Gaming in Salem, New Hampshire? Is that what? Yeah. It's in the same town as the Pinball Wizard Arcade. Another really nice store. They had a lot more stuff there than the Bowser's Basement. They also had one of these Net Yaros. I think that's how you pronounce that right. One of these hobbyist developing system for the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. Pretty neat to see one of those. I never saw one in person before. It's got a really neat texture to the console and the controllers. It's kind of like, how to describe it? It's got like a rough kind of feeling. It's kind of hard to describe. It's a really cool looking grayish black colored also. Pretty neat to see that. I think they wanted like $1,200 for it. Whoa! Might add that to the collection. No way. Where else do I go? Oh, another really cool. Now this gaming store I can't recommend enough. This store is awesome. Bizarre Game Trading. This was in Dracut, Massachusetts. I hope I said that right. If anybody there lives in Dracut or Dracut, correct me on how you say that, please. I'm terrible at pronouncing names and stuff like that. Willie's brain don't work so good sometimes. But anyway, this store was incredible. A lot of neat stuff. I saw a little minty in box Nintendo action set in there. They also had a Television 2 in their box, and the keyboard component. Look, the keyboard component box looked brand new. A lot of nice Intellivision games there. Big collection. A lot of Atari 8-bit stuff was in there. It was like a little treasure trove. There's like bins and little cubby holes all over the place. Every time you would move something, you'd find something else that's really cool. The owner of the store is incredibly nice, very friendly. I can't recommend this store enough. If you're in the Dracut area, definitely give this store a visit. It's well worth your time. A lot of hidden gems inside of this store. Very impressed with it. Oh, I forgot to give a shout out. A lot of the vintage toys I pick up off of eBay, or sometimes I'll find them at flea markets and things like that. And one of the places I picked up some of my vintage toys from was Retail for Resale LLC, the eBay store. This is ran by Jesse. Jesse listens to my Toy Tune podcast, and I totally forgot to give him a shout out for me buying that RC car, the Latrax Alpha RC car that I picked up. I will be doing a podcast episode on and a video in the near future. So yeah, go check out his store on eBay. He's got some good prices, very fast shipping. He packs things extremely well. So he's a great seller on there. I've been perusing his classic toy section. He sells other things too, like video games and all kinds of stuff. Tons of neat stuff on his eBay store. So thanks again for the Latrax Alpha, Jesse. Got a great deal on it, and I really appreciate how you packed it. Awesome. Let's see. What else here? Done talk. I'm looking at my notes. I got notes sitting right there. Let's see. I think I talked about that. Did that? Okay. Oh, friends of the Arcade USA YouTube show, the At Home Computer Services in Canton, North Carolina. They have their own YouTube channel now. It's called At Home. I gotta look. Oh, there it is. At Home Canton is their YouTube channel. Now, some of the stuff they've been doing on there is showing like vintage Sears Christmas catalogs and other computer-related stuff like DOS games and things like that. So go check out their channel. I'll put a link to it in the notes down below and give them a like. They are fellow members of the Retro Junkies Network, which I belong to. So I like to try to help promote my fellow members' projects. You know, like Phil, the No Swear Gamer. He's a very good friend of mine. Does really great videos. I highly recommend his channel too. A lot of fun to watch his stuff. He's a nice guy. He's pretty cool. So I think that's pretty much it. That's all my notes have. So now we're going to get to the pickups. All right. So first off, the pickup I got at Pinball Wizard Arcade in Pelham. They are selling these. What is this? The History of Pinball DVDs. This is pretty neat. Now, I know a lot of people don't like pinball. I used to not like pinball very much, but it's kind of grown on me lately. I've been really getting into virtual pinballs and video pinball, stuff like that. But I still like playing actual pinball machines. So I thought it'd be kind of neat to get a history DVD of this. And what's really cool, one of the guys that talks in here is Slash from Guns N' Roses. Yeah, awesome. My good friend RK, he cracks me up. He sent me a rubber stamp of my face. That's too funny. I gotta get me some ink for this little bad boy. I've got plans for it. I'm gonna wait till my wife's asleep and go, punk, you've been branded Willie. Thanks a lot for that, RK. I really appreciate it, man. You're a great friend. I got a donation to my show. This came from my buddy Rick from the Televisionaries podcast and the Holiday Special podcast, and also from his two sons, Cameron and Quinn. They sent me a talking Pinball Wizard tabletop game. Now, I just did a video on this that should be posted by now. This game is freaking incredible. For a tabletop pinball game that's got an LCD screen, I like how VTech put the lights underneath the LCD screen so when your ball hits the bumpers and targets and stuff, it lights up from underneath. It gives it a really, really cool effect. Really neat little tabletop. I really appreciate getting that sent to me. Also found one of these new Basic Fun Pac-Man arcade machines. I picked this up at Toys R Us. I've not seen the Space Invaders one yet. They're supposed to be sold at Walgreens, Toys R Us, of course, Walmart, Meijer, a few other places. But I've never seen the Space Invader one yet, just the Pac-Man. I really love this thing, mainly because it has arcade sounds in it. Awesome. Oh, also, oh, it's still going. Hit the wrong button. Off. There we go. Also picked up. Now I've been getting back into slot cars a little bit because we'll be covering on the Toy Tune podcast and not the near future. We're still collecting information and stuff. We're going to make it a special episode. But I found virtual slot car racing. This was made by Hot Wheels. It even comes with 2 little controllers. You hook this up to your PC and you race slot cars in these different fantasy environments. Now, unfortunately, the controllers require a 15-pin gaming card or something like that plugged into your PC. But I did find a USB adapter that'll plug into these things, so I'll be able to actually use the controllers and try this game out. I'll probably get my wife to race me or something like that for the Toy Tune podcast. So that is pretty awesome to get a hold of that. Now, my buddy, John, we set up a trade. I traded him off my Bally Astrocade, which I'm not going to use anymore. I need the space. I was going to do a podcast on it, but there's already a podcast out now. It's called the Bally Astrocast. No, the Bally Alley Astrocast. I'll put a link to it in the notes down below. But I traded off of him plus some money he gave me for the Astrocade, and he sent me a pretty much minty Emerson Arcadia 2001. This thing was still in the plastic wrap inside. Freaking awesome. It looks almost brand new. So I'm going to be doing a podcast on this probably sometime early next year. So I'm in the process of collecting cartridges for it. I also plan on trying to get a multi-cart. I know the guy that was making them is not making them right now. So I'm hoping another one becomes available so I can have access to all the games to talk about on the podcast. So thanks a lot, John. I really appreciate this trade you did with me. This is going to help a lot when I'm doing the podcast. I do have a loose one back on my shelf, but I just love having this original one in the box. Has all the paperwork, has the catalogs, everything's in there, even the switch box. So I'm very, very happy getting this. Now to some games, more games here. Now I picked up a really cool game for my Atari 8-bit computer. It's called Final Orbit. Awesome game. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Star Master on the Atari 2600 a little bit, but it's just the shooting stage. You're flying over a planet's surface, and you're battling these UFOs and other aliens that are flying around on the screen. And your guns will automatically aim at the bottom, and you shoot lasers at the crosshairs. Pretty straightforward game, but it's actually, kind of fun. It's not too bad. So I picked this up at that Bizarre Game Trading. You got a lot of other Atari 8-bit software there, and also Commodore 64 software too. A lot of neat stuff there. And TI-99, I saw a Bounty Bob for the TI-99 cartridge in the box. That's awesome. Also picked up Flipper Critters for my Nintendo DS, another pinball game. This is going to be for the Pinball Electronica series of videos I've been doing. So you'll see this being played on the future episode of that, along with Mario Pinball Land and Pac-Man Pinball and a bunch of other kind of pinball games. If anybody out there has a favorite pinball game, virtual pinball, electronic game like that, take a video of it, send it to me, whatever, and I'll put it in that Pinball Electronica video series I'm doing. For my PlayStation, I picked up this really awesome shooter. It's called Omega Boost. You're a robot flying through space, battling aliens. This thing's great. I can't describe how fun this freaking game is. I'm a big fan of Calling Wars. I love that series. I actually wish Sony would actually bring it back out again for the PS4 with updated graphics and stuff. How awesome would that be? We need something like that. I'm looking forward to No Man's Sky, though, so that's going to kind of fill that little void for me. But back to this game, Omega Boost. Really fun shooting game. It actually uses the analog joystick, which makes it nice, makes it a little easier to aim. A lot of great effects. It's not bad for a original PlayStation 1 game. They did one heck of a good job on this. So I'm really happy to add this to my collection because I love space shooters and robots. So this combines both. Makes me very happy. For my PSP, I picked up Death Junior, a little platforming game, 3D isometric kind of thing. You know, you're standing behind him with Death Junior as he runs around with his scythe and his gun. And he collects souls and uses those souls to get through these gates and collect power-ups and recharges and stuff. It's actually a pretty fun game. It's not too bad. I just picked it up on the whim because I never heard of it before. I really don't do much collecting for the PSP system at all. It has to be something that looks very interesting to me to pick up, you know, like my Ace Combat game, because I love Ace Combat. Afterburner, whatever that game was. I love that game on any platform. And I was in the mood for a light platformer game, and this kind of fills the bill for that. So it's pretty awesome. And yet another virtual slot car racing game, Slot Car Thunder, for the original Xbox. This is actually not too bad of a slot car game. You use the analog joystick to control, you know, how much speed your car is going to have, and you use the little trigger buttons on the side to switch lanes. So it's kind of like a TCR, you know, virtual TCR racing game, Total Control Racing. But there's some neat power-ups you pick up, a la, you know, Mario Kart, that kind of stuff. Things you got to avoid in the road. It has 3 different classes of cars. You have, you know, the 3-volt series. No. Yeah, 3-volt series, 6-volt, and 9-volt cars. That's just basic overall speed of the tracks. Actually, it's not too bad of a game. For a slot car game, it's pretty cool. I know they made this for the GameCube as well. And I think it was on the PlayStation 2. I'm not 100% sure. Made by Encore. I love slot cars. It's been a long time since I messed with them, but I had a lot of fun with slot cars growing up when I was a kid. So this is kind of cool. It's got a little nostalgia for me. And finally, the last game I've picked up, I found a complete in box, Space Invaders, for the Super Nintendo game system. Pretty good version of Space Invaders. Has really good sounds, almost arcade perfect sounds on it. And of course, it has the different types of Space Invaders on here. We have the original one with the little moon landscape in the background, the color Space Invaders with the cellophane, that kind of stuff. What's really neat is it has a versus mode on here as well. That's what I'm looking forward to playing with my wife. I'll make a video of that as we play the versus mode of Space Invaders. But I love Space Invaders, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to have this in the box to put up on my shelf. I will play it. You know, I tend to collect stuff I like to play. I just don't collect stuff willy-nilly anymore. I don't have the room, basically. That's why the Astrocade went, since I'm not going to do anything with it anymore. So, that's pretty much it. Yep, that's everything. Yep, covered everything. So until next time, keep on gaming.